Hey, this is Michael with Digital T-Shirt Shop. So I yesterday watched a video by a friend of mine. He likes to post videos online. He's got a couple of businesses. He talks about the businesses and different things that he enjoys doing. He's an avid aviator and loves flying airplanes and builds products for airplanes and different things like that. But we became friends back in high school, I mean, years and years and years ago. And I remember at the time, thereabouts, that Mark had a business with his brother. And I was always kind of curious how that came about. How'd they get into that? Well, Mark had this video that he did a lecture at Utah Valley University and talked about how he became an entrepreneur and the things that he did starting at age 15, going and starting a business, and his dad taking him to the business office to get a state office of commerce or whatever, and to get a business license, and what he did to try to be successful in business. And it was really interesting because he kind of 2 points. One I thought was really interesting was how they went about getting their business. So he started his name's Mark Patey. He started a company when he was in high school called Deckit, him and his twin brother building custom decks for people on their houses. Now when they started building the decks, they had really no idea, more or less, how to do it and didn't have the tools to do it, but they went and tried to start a business doing it anyways. And he talked about kind of the challenges that they faced, not having tools and not having anybody to sell it to and not having any experience, and going and convincing somebody to let them actually do this. And then second point was, how did they get more business? And this was what was kind of interesting in what he talked about. He called it the extra 2%. What is the extra 2% that you're doing to make a difference with your customer? And it caused me to think a lot about my business. What is the extra 2% I'm doing? So let's say I have a t-shirt business. Just figuratively I have one, but we're just figuratively a t-shirt business. What is it that everybody expects? Well, they expect a quality shirt. So I give them a quality shirt. They expect a quality print. I give them a quality print. They expect the shirt to show up to their house. Shirt shows up to their house. Maybe they expect more along the lines of Amazon. They expect it to show up fast. So I try to get it there fast. That sometimes doesn't always happen. I don't think even at that point, at the point I've sold them something, I printed it on something quality, I gave them a quality print, and I got it to them, or even got it to them rapidly, that I gave an extra 2%. So where would the extra 2% be? Where would the extra 2% be that I could do in my particular business? I don't know. He talked about in his, they built their first deck, and then they didn't have another job. So they went back to the guy a week later and said, hey, it's your 1 week anniversary. That's kind of how he put it, which I thought was kind of funny. We're going to just check and make sure all the screws are tight, there's nothing loose. And he said they fixed it, straightened out a board was about it. And that was it. And he's like, and they asked for some referrals, and there were no referrals or anything like that. So they left, and then they came back for their 2 week anniversary because again, they didn't have any more jobs. But this time when they came back for their 2 week anniversary, they had some scrap wood, and they decided, hey, let's build him some planter boxes, and we'll just give them to him for free. They're, a 2 week anniversary gift. They went, they took the gift, they put him on his deck. And at that point, he said the guy was actually impressed. He was impressed that these kids were hustling that hard to try to get business and try to be successful. That they would go above and beyond doing what he had not expected. So in his case, reaching out to the customer. Now, it is very, very common in business, and especially sales, that people send gifts and people send thank you cards and people send all those things. I don't do that, and I don't think anybody would expect that with a t-shirt company. Now, they would probably expect to be spammed with emails and texts, but they wouldn't expect maybe a handwritten note or a personal thank you. Maybe that could be an extra 2%. I don't know. Would that be good with t-shirts? I don't know. Then they went and they built him something extra and gave it to him for free. Well, that's clearly more than anybody would ever expect. With a t-shirt, that's, you're shipping things all over the country. It's a little impractical to do this, to send them whole additional product. There obviously cost in mailing and all sorts of things. I don't know. But is there a principle there, and is there, I guess the thing that I need to do is I need to not shoot it down and not shoot down the idea and not say it's impossible or it's impractical before I even do it. But I think that I need to sit and think about what is that 2% extra that I can do with my business that would make the difference, like it made the difference with Mark's business. Mark's gone on to start a lot of businesses. They went from decks to hot tubs because obviously hot tubs correlate with decks. They ended up buying a hot tub company, selling the hot tub company. Him and his brother were always really mechanical. I remember back in high school they were souping up their cars and boring out the engines and making them so they went faster than typical vehicles. And then as they got older, they got into other mechanical items, building vehicles. I know they started a line of electric vans, and then they've got into aviation. And now Mark has started a company called Best Hugs. I think he owns a pharmaceutical company. He owns this Best Hugs company. He does all sorts of things. What he talked about a few other companies that he has. His brother's the same way, into all sorts of things. But I love that entrepreneurial spirit, and I think there's a lot to learn there. There's probably a lot that can be learned from even just that simple little story. So I'm going to mull it over in my head and see if there are things that I can come up with that might make that 2% difference, and see what we can do. So, all right, bye. Don't forget to subscribe to Digital T-Shirt Shop.